Alrighty guys, so we're out in the Cavalier again, and I have a progress update. Got the coil packs replaced. That turned out to not be the problem. It was actually a number 2 fuel injector failure. So, pop the hood. Ended up going to Advanced Auto and ordering a fuel injector for $100 because rip-off. And it wasn't even a brand new unit, it was a remanufactured one. Get the hood propped up here. So, to get to the fuel injectors, basically have to remove this intake tube, remove the throttle controls, all of this up here, the intake plenum has to come off, and then you could pull all that off. Then there's 2 T30 Torx bolts here, and one down under there you can't see, but you pull those off, and then this rail, it's basically like a clamp. It holds everything down, holds the fuel injectors in place. You pull that out, and you can literally just pop the fuel injectors up with a screwdriver and pull them out. So number 2, which is right there, was bad, and it was actually leaking externally. Got that replaced, and it's running on all 4 cylinders now, but the idle is still bad. So there's either a sensor issue because it's tripping a check engine light, or this fuel pressure regulator might be bad. So I'm going to test that today and see if any fuel comes up out of this vacuum line at all. But it's got really long labored cranks. Like if you don't give it any gas, especially when it's warm, it's about a 10 second or so crank time before it actually catches and fires, and then it runs on all 4, but it lopes on all 4 like it's cammed, which is really weird. My buddy said it could be the cam position sensor or crank position sensor, but let's see what it does. I'm only going to prime it once. If you prime it a couple times, which makes me believe it's the fuel pressure regulator, it'll start easier. If you only prime it once, you'll have some problems. Not going to give it any gas. And let's crank it and find out how it starts. See, fired right up that time. And it's running mostly smoothly. So, check engine lights on. And if you could hear it, it's still got a bit of a mist. But as it warms up, it'll run rougher and rougher and rougher at idle. But for now, it sounds fairly consistent. We're going to pull this vacuum line off. And just see if any fuel starts coming out of here. Now to test it, you can't pull it off for a couple seconds and say, oh, it's bad, or oh, it's good. It actually takes sometimes over a minute for these to show that they're bad. So we're just waiting for fuel. Okay. Doesn't smell like gas, so that one might not actually be bad. Hard to tell. I have to test it after I drive it around for a bit, I guess. Because it doesn't smell like gas and it's not wet. And that's a telltale sign. If the ends of those are wet, then that usually means they're bad. But this one seems like it could be okay. But it's still kind of running funky. But, yeah. That's what it does. It kind of lopes. But it's on all four. Like, all four cylinders are firing. If you pull any of the spark plugs off, it runs worse. So, but go around to the back, and you'll kind of hear the lope. It's actually worse than it normally is. But yeah, it's starting to warm up now, and that's why it's getting worse. As you can see, as soon as the temperature gauge starts to move, it gets a nice lope to it. But if you give it just a little bit of gas, usually it's kind of like it loads up. So yeah, through the medium RPM range, that's still kind of there. So it could be a sensor, it could be the base plate for the coil packs. Who knows? Everything has a good spark, good fuel pressure as far as I can tell, and everything is doing what they're supposed to. That check engine code came up as a 14 something, 1408, 14 something. It was O2 sensor / emission system thing, which I think is an old code from when I was running it on 3 cylinders for a bit when that injector died. So the car was not happy for a while. But yeah, as you can tell, it really sits here and lopes. It's got plenty of power when you hit the gas. And when you're, like I was beating on it all day yesterday, I used a little over a quarter of a tank, or at least a quarter of a tank, doing like green light, wide open throttle runs and things like that, just having a good time. I'm trying to burn the gas out that's in it because it's kind of old. It's a couple months old actually. So, but anyway guys, that's it for this video. It's getting on to 8 minutes long, and I shall post again later. Alright guys, so it's not completely warmed up yet, but we're going to do a little romp just to show you that it's not missing any power. So let's give them its 45 up here. That was zero, not zero, but that was 45 to whatever. So, but yeah, still has all of its power. I can tell. So that's why it's really weird that it idles so funny. Like it's pushed me back in my seat for a little, what was 110 horsepower 4-banger. So, not missing any of its guts. Well guys, you probably can't hear me from that truck going by, but I went to the bank and dropped off some money. And we're gonna see if I was in there long enough for it to demonstrate the hard start when hot. So I'm gonna crank it. And that was actually quicker than it normally starts up. It's usually even a harder crank than that. We also just passed 188,056 miles, if anybody was interested. This engine uses no oil or anything at 188,000 miles. Of course, I do go pretty expensive on the oil changes. It's got royal purple full synthetic in it right now with a high mileage filter. So, but anyway, guys, I'll probably stop the video there. That's probably enough updates. If you want more videos like this, let me know and I could try. I'm gonna do one more when the light turns green. This will be a 0 to 45. Wide open throttle. So that was 0 to 45. Hard as it could go. Okay, so I lied. This isn't the end of the video. I ended up going to Advanced Auto and picking up a can of seafoam just because I noticed the intake on this thing was very, very carboned up. inside the intake runners and stuff, and this should help clear some of that out. It might do something. This was the most expensive can of seafoam I've ever purchased. It was over, it was almost $13 for this can. So this thing better do something for that price. I know how good it usually works. I've seen all the videos on YouTube about this crap, but yeah, so we'll go home and try this crap, I guess, and see if it fires right up or doesn't fire right up. Alrighty, I'll talk to you guys later.